Good evening. Welcome in another episode of Dead in the Water. I'm your host, Spencer Young, and I'll be flying solo tonight. My better half, Turf, couldn't make it. He's out of town on business, so I'm holding down the fort. I'm going to try something a little bit different tonight because it doesn't look like comments are aggregating on here to my StreamYard account. So I'm going to try monitoring the Turf's channel and see if I can keep an eye on it that way, because I know you guys post a lot of comments in there. So stick with me. I'm going to see if I can get to you and see if I can keep an eye on the comments. All right. So I got that up. Unfortunately, I don't know if I'll be able to get anything for some of the other channels, but I'll do my best. So anyway, let's talk about this game for a second. We got the Seahawks and the Cardinals, and the pretty terrible game so far. 14-3 coming towards halftime. 13 seconds left. That looks like it could be it. Kyler Murray's got 2 picks on the night. Sam Darnold looks like he's playing pretty solid. 123 yards and a touchdown pass. Outside of that, nothing particularly exciting. Kenneth Walker's got 8 carries for 46 yards. Hopefully the second half is better. That's all I got to say. We are coming into halftime, so we'll let this game sit and we'll talk about some other stuff. Quick aside before we get into football. Just got some great news today. So as you can see, Patriots fan, also Celtics fan, Red Sox fan. Red Sox are in the hunt for the playoffs, and it looks like they're closing in on that last wild card spot in the American League, so that's great news. But the better and more interesting news that I got today, the NBA better watch out. Jason Tatum looks like he's going to be back before the end of the year. So excited. I know all you Knicks fans and Cavs fans were planning your trip to the NBA Finals this year. Better hold on. I can't believe it, but it looks like the Achilles surgery is a total success. The rehab has been great. Tatum's already back on the court doing drills. I have no idea how long it's going to take him to ramp back up and get into game shape, but it's a testament to his commitment to the team. He never left the building, stayed in Boston the whole time, had the surgery right after it happened in New York. He did his entire rehab in Boston. From what I've heard, the only time he left the building was to go on weekend trips. So he was never away for very long. So he put the work in, put the time, and it looks like it's going to pay off for him. So super excited about that. Super excited. Tatum's back. Unbelievable. So we're gonna be keep a very close eye on that on the basketball front. We're still a little bit of ways away from tip off, but that was news of the day. Thought I'd share that. On the NFL front, looks like we might be getting Christian Gonzalez back for the Patriots this weekend. All signs point to him playing. Finally. Can't wait. Now, this is a tough game for them. It shouldn't be, but every game's a tough game for them. Carolina Panthers coming to town, who are fresh off whooping up on the Atlanta Falcons. so far they're pretty. Their defense looks pretty stiff. So the Patriots better bring their A game. With the calamity last week, it looks like Travion Henderson is going to be the lead back for the Patriots this week. We'll see how that all goes down. We'll see what happens with Ramondre. I really feel for him. I know it's a big thing for him, ball security, but for whatever reason, it keeps happening. I mean, as you can see, if you watched the Ravens game last week, Derrick Henry has had some recent struggles too with it. I don't know if it just gets in your head and it starts to fester, but I hope he can figure it out and get back on the field. But as far as this game goes, I don't really know how much we're going to see of him. As a coach, I'm not that familiar with how Vrabel deals with this kind of stuff. I know Belichick. We probably wouldn't have seen Mondre for at least a couple weeks. So we'll see. We'll see. But I think, as far as keys to the game for them this week, it's going to be to establish the run with Henderson. And probably Gibson, I'd imagine, would be the other back. So, establish the run, get to play action, and start getting into some of the matchups with Diggs and Booty, right? DeMario, I'm not sure how much DeMario is going to play either, but I think except for the gaff at the end of the game, I thought he played a pretty good game. He, obviously the lion's share of the targets went to Henry and Hooper. And that could have just been game plan. That might have been the idea all along, is to get the tight ends the ball. But they came through in a big way. So, Henry's always been a weapon for us. And it's whether he gets used or not is a different story. Now, going around the league, we can take a look at some of these other games. Let me see here. I think I got the schedule. Here we go. So as far as the week 4 matchups go, this Sunday, the biggest one that I see is let's go down the list here. Of course, the marquee game of the week, Baltimore, Kansas City. That is going to be a big one. For a couple teams that are having kind of a hard time starting the season, this is definitely probably the most interesting game of the week. Now, Baltimore, as I mentioned earlier, Derrick Henry's been having some struggle with fumbles lately as well as Ramondre. And, Baltimore's had some kind of heartbreaking losses. Now, Kansas City was staring 0-3 in the face, and they managed to pull that game through last week. I didn't really feel like it was in question after halftime. So, I'm kind of amazed that a wide receiver group, including Tyquan Thornton and Juju Smith-Schuster, is getting it done. But it is what it is. It's Patrick Mahomes, man. It's, you can hate Kansas City if you want, but Kansas City is the deal. And they are the path, right? I think about this. For the last 5 years, they've been the representative in the Super Bowl for the AFC. So that is going to have to be taken from them. So if anybody in the AFC has designs on winning a Super Bowl, which I'm sure Baltimore and Buffalo do, The road to the Super Bowl still goes through Kansas City. Simple as that. If we're talking implications of this game, Baltimore cannot afford to lose. This is big for them. They seem to be very like solid team, but their defense has been playing really poor, really poor. You don't want to be playing bad football on the defensive side of the ball when you go into Kansas City, which to me, I'm just going to say it off the top, like this line is out of control. Baltimore going to Kansas City and they're favored in the game. You got to be kidding me. That usually a home team gets 3 points for being at home. So you're telling me that Baltimore is almost a touchdown favorite against Kansas City? I mean, the dude's like beaten Mahomes once in like 6 tries. Lamar is the big game choke. I'm sorry, like all you Ravens fans out there. I'm sure you're probably going to come for me in the comments, but it's when the money's on the line, Lamar doesn't show up, man. And you can go and talk about whatever you want, but when the chips are all in the middle, so far in his career, he has not come through. So maybe it's different tomorrow. Maybe it's win number 2 for him. But we'll see tomorrow on Sunday. As far as I'm concerned, this is looking like a victory for the Ravens. I mean, for the Chiefs. I don't see how Baltimore is going to beat them, especially playing as poor defense as they are. If they came in guns blazing on defense and their offense was sputtering, I can understand that. Maybe it would be a stronger indicator for Baltimore, but with bad defense, you can't play bad defense against Mahomes and think you're gonna win. So that's that. I mean, we're living in Mahomes' world until somebody else says otherwise. Now, Sunday Night Football has got the Green Bay Packers playing the Dallas Cowboys. I'm sure this game probably looked a lot more appealing a month ago when the schedule came out. But right now, Dallas is in a lot of trouble. A lot of trouble. Traded their best defensive player. They've got another injury on defense. They're missing their best offensive player. It's not looking good. Not gonna lie. And this is the return. This is the return. Green Bay coming into Dallas. I think this is going to be an ugly game. Dallas usually seems to find a way to play better when the chips are down, but I still don't think they're going to be able to overcome it. So yeah, I mean, I think that line's probably about right. 6.5 points. Green Bay's going to go in there and put their feet up, take care of business. Some of these other games, notable takeaways. You know, obviously we got Pittsburgh and Minnesota. This is another game of Carson Wentz going up against that Pittsburgh defense. I don't know. I kind of feel bad for Minnesota. Their defense played really well last week, and they got the win easily. But Pittsburgh is kind of a different animal. They're not really that good this year, but for some reason they just always seem to hang around. Plus, this game's going to be played in Dublin, Ireland. So, first international game or first European game rather of the year. We got an 8:30 kick. So this is a super early game, and we're going to get Minnesota and Pittsburgh first thing in the morning when you're having your coffee. After that, we get to see what happens with Washington and Atlanta. Should be the battle of the two highly touted quarterbacks from last year's draft class, but I'm not sure either one of them are going to play. I mean, Atlanta should go back to Penix, and they might already have announced that, but I don't think he deserved to lose his job. Maybe they just pulled him to, get somebody else in there to finish the game, and since he was having such a tough night. But he should be the starter. And yeah, I just confirmed that. Raheem Morris has confirmed that he is going back to Penix. So that's good news. He, outside of last week, he's looked pretty good so far. So it's absolutely a good idea, I think. As far as the rest of the schedule goes, New Orleans and Buffalo, snooze. Buffalo wins that going away. Cleveland and Detroit ought to be kind of interesting. This is going to be, the second, I'd say, full start for Quinshon Judkins. And now he's kind of, 3 games into it, and he's starting to, really get his feet wet. We're going to see what this man's going to look like, because they had a tough matchup last week against Green Bay, and he took that defense that was holding people to, I think it was 2.4 yards per carry through the first couple weeks. And he went for 94 yards. And he looked good doing it. So Judkins, I'm thinking he's going to be a player. I knew he was going to be good. But right now he's looking like the best running back out of this class. And, of course, this is in Detroit. So they're facing Jahmyr Gibbs. They're facing pretty electric offense and a pretty solid defense. These two defenses are both pretty good. Cleveland and Detroit, I mean, they can get after you. So I think this should be kind of a lower scoring game. They've got the over set at, let's see here, 44.5. I don't know. That seems a little bit high. But you never know. You never know. I'd probably lean to the under with two defenses like this. We already covered the Patriots and the Carolina Panthers. Other interesting games. The only other really interesting games to me are Philly and Tampa, and Indy and the Los Angeles Rams. Those two games ought to be interesting. Tampa has found ways to win. Not a particularly difficult start, strength of schedule wise, but they won even when the games were close. And Philly has looked, like Philly. They don't win with sexy stats and big plays, but they just beat you to death, beat you into submission. So they're, style points wise, it's not as stylistic as it was last year, but it's still very, very effective. The tush push is still working, even though people are trying to talk it out of existence. It's still very much alive, and it still very much works. So, I heard the big news story out of Tampa is that they brought back their rookie, 430 pounds of him. What was his name? Desmond Watson, former Florida Gator, 430 pounds, 464 now. Ooh, even bigger. 464. And they're going to stick him next to Vita Vea, who's, I think, 320, 330. So that's like nearly a ton of man in the middle of that line. So they're going to try. That's how they're going to try and combat that tush push. They're going to see how strong Jalen Hurts really is. That should pretty much eliminate any interior running in this game for Saquon Barkley, I'd imagine. So everything's going to be, outside runs or, zone block or pitches or anything like that. Don't see anything going through the middle of the line. So we'll see. That might dial it up to be a little bit more of a passing game for Philly. So maybe they look to AJ Brown and try and get their receivers and tight ends involved finally. That'd be exciting for all the fantasy players that have AJ Brown and haven't seen him do much of squat this year. The other big news on the Tampa Bay front is Mike Evans is out. But luckily for them, they're getting Chris Godwin back this week. So kind of a nice handoff. Evans is going to go take a break, rest up for a few weeks. Godwin takes over. So now you're going to get, Egbuka, Godwin, and Shepard with K. Dotton at tight end. So it's probably going to be a little bit different. Evans gives you that downfield size and, 50-50 ball stuff. They don't really have that anymore. But Egbuka and Godwin, man, that's like those two. I'm pick your poison. If Godwin looks like he's, like he's healthy, he's fully healthy and back, then he should be a problem. But we're going to see. Like his first week off injury, it's maybe it's the return, the year of the return, right? Steph Diggs looked great coming off his ACL surgery. Maybe Godwin looks great too. We'll see. And the other interesting game that is the Indianapolis Colts and the LA Rams. Like I didn't really see the Colts coming this year. I didn't really give Daniel Jones much of a chance of making an impact. I figured he had more than enough chances in New York, and we saw who Daniel Jones really is. But maybe, just maybe, we really saw what the New York Giants are. And, the level of incompetence there. Because to be honest, it doesn't look any better without him there. Looks exactly the same, to be honest. And that makes me really sad for Jackson Dart. Because Dart looked good in the preseason, just like JJ McCarthy. Dart did everything right, said everything right, waited his turn. Russell Wilson fell apart. Again, I'm not entirely sure that's all his fault. And now it's Jackson Dart's turn. We'll see what we got. I think Jackson's probably in for a long day. That would be my first thought. But the Colts look resurgent with Daniel Jones. Jonathan Taylor looks like, the Jonathan Taylor from like 3 years ago. Pittman is a difference maker again. Josh Downs, like they've got weapons. The defense is good. The line is good. Daniel Jones has time to throw. And surprise, surprise, he's thrown pretty well. Now, do they have enough talent to beat the Rams at home? That's questionable. But we will see. I mean, at minimum, I think it's going to be a great game. So, I mean, I don't know if it's going to be available in all your markets, but if you can watch it, I would definitely recommend watching it. It's going to be on Fox. So I don't know if that's going to be the afternoon or not. Probably regional, I'd imagine. But it should be some fireworks for sure. Kyron Williams, Blake Corum, Jonathan Taylor. It sounds like a good matchup to me. It's definitely worth watching. What else? Other thoughts on this week? As far as must-wins go on this schedule, right? Houston and Tennessee, two teams that both must win, right? Tennessee loses this game, they can pretty much like fold up shop for the year. It's not an impossibility to come back from 0-4, but it's highly improbable. Highly. New Orleans, another one. I'm not entirely sure that New Orleans even went into the year trying to win this year. So, I mean, if you draft Tyler Shook, it's not a serious draft pick. I'm sorry. I'm sure you're going to get to see him sooner rather than later because they're going to be 0-4 after this, and another loss, another 2 losses maybe, and it's going to be a wrap on the year. And then they'll go to Tyler and see what they got, which I don't think is much. So it's you're heading probably for the first or the second draft pick. Don't feel bad. I feel similar about Cam Ward. Like all the hype train on Cam Ward coming out of college, I did not. I'm one of the few people that saw nothing in him that translated to the NFL. I didn't think his skill set translated. I thought his college numbers were mediocre at best. I don't subscribe to the guys that, run really fast and throw really far. There's more to playing quarterback than just being a great athlete. I'm sorry. See Anthony Richardson. If you're a great athlete, not a great quarterback, consider changing positions. Cam Ward is, that's an extreme comparison to Anthony Richardson because Richardson has a lot more problems than Cam Ward does in his game. But, the numbers don't lie. Cam's looked really bad. He's had moments where he flashed and he's made good throws. But on the whole, Turf and I were talking about this last week, I think. Turf thought, Cam had, shown pretty well this year. And then I read the numbers back to him. He's like, well, maybe I'm wrong. I mean, it's easy and enamored when you see, him make a crazy throw, but I mean, the dude's throwing completion percentage is around 50%. His numbers look terrible across the board. His team's winless, and none of the games are particularly close. He's not a good player right now on a bad team. And they obviously had the first pick last year, so they were terrible last year. So I mean, they're very quickly approaching another, you know, entrance into the first pick in the draft or second pick in the draft, and they'll be looking at a quarterback again. You know, it's just how it is. Sorry, guys. Um, yeah, maybe they'll stick with Cam because he's a first overall pick, and he'll get an extra year or something to prove out. I mean, Levis got an extra year, and he didn't deserve it. So I mean, I could see him getting another shot, but Levis is also out injured this year, so kind of made the job, the choice, the decision a lot easier for them. They could just go to Cam. Probably, in the grand scheme of things, was probably detrimental to his development to do that because this team is clearly not ready to play football with other NFL teams. But we'll see how that shakes out next year. They might just jettison Levis. I think he'll be at the end or have 1 year left on his rookie deal. Let me see if I could check that out while I'm talking. The Titans definitely have to figure something out, though. I don't know if it's drafting another quarterback or drafting some more help on the line or a wide receiver or a tight end. But I mean, I don't know. I don't. They got to do something. They've got a lot of holes and they lack a lot of talent in a lot of different positions. So, um, but my approach would always be to work from the inside out. Right. If your offensive and defensive line aren't good, then you're not good. And it doesn't matter who you put around them. Right. If you don't got a line that can protect your quarterback, he can't throw the ball. If you can't throw the ball, the receivers can't catch it. If the line can't block, your running back can't run. See Ashton Jenny. Right? That dude's got more yards after contact than yards. But that's it. More yards after contact than yards. So, if you can't block, you can't win. And you got to address that first, not last. And I know the sexy thing is bringing the big shiny toy, the wide receiver, who runs a 4.2 and can do one-handed backflips, can high point a ball with one hand. But none of that matters. None of that matters if your quarterback can't get the ball to him. It doesn't. So, I mean, they got to address that first. And then Nola, I don't know. I feel like Nola was trying to set up to draft a quarterback next year from the get-go. Although I don't understand why you'd waste a pick on Tyler Shough. I really don't. I mean, the guy was bouncing balls in his pro day against air. I don't know. I mean, his game film wasn't that terrible from last year, and maybe he was just tight at the combine and got nervous. But it doesn't really matter, man. I mean, if you're a quarterback throwing against air and you're a competitor, it shouldn't matter. Like that's easy work. That's light work for a elite quarterback, right? Like Aaron Rodgers, Tom Brady, Peyton Manning. You just shred that thing, right? Thrown against air. I mean, that's just a workout. So, I beyond that, I mean, his college numbers were fine. I didn't really understand why they took him, so we'll see. Maybe they saw something that I missed, but I mean, I felt like I watched quite a bit of game film on all the quarterbacks and running backs and wide receivers for the last draft, and I didn't see anything that made me think that he would be a starting quarterback in the NFL. At best, he looks like a backup. So, but we'll see. I might be proven wrong. But I think we're only a couple weeks away from finding out. So we'll see. Beyond those two teams, I really thought Carolina was going hard for that as well. But they came out and stomped Atlanta last week. I didn't see that coming at all. I mean, I'm going to tell you a quick story. Like, the Patriots had John Parker Romo in for a tryout. We signed him last year after Minnesota released him. We had him on our practice squad. We go into the draft, and I'm like, we're not going to draft a kicker. We got, this guy. He's sitting on the practice squad, and obviously they thought enough of him to keep him here. We're not going to waste a pick on a kicker. Not Belichick's not here anymore. We're not drafting special teams guys. Fast forward to the back end of our draft, we not only draft a kicker, we sign a long snapper, and it's like I didn't understand it. But it is what it is. The long snapper's on the team, starter. Replaced our longtime long snapper. Okay, he's done a good job. Great pick. The kicker now, Borregales, he didn't look bad. He had a pretty good preseason, but he didn't have as good a preseason as Romo. And I thought Romo looked much better. Much better. Stronger leg. More accurate. He just looked better all around to me. But, I don't know if the fact that we drafted Borregales weighed into it at all, but long story short, we ended up cutting Romo. So Romo gets out there. He ends up getting picked up by Atlanta, goes in week 2, 5 for 5. And I mean, he's kicking like 50-yarders easily, dead on. I was like, oh, wow. I'm like, yeah, we totally missed on this guy. Totally missed. So I'm like, I go pick him up on the waiver wire in my fantasy league, and I cut Harrison Butker, for him. And, fast forward to week 3, we all know how that turned out. Carolina curb stomped him, and Romo missed 2 field goals. So it's like, can't get too ahead of ourselves. Luckily, I was able to bounce back to Butker. Butker's still kicking for the Kansas City Chiefs and Patrick Mahomes. So, safe bet. I figured, Romo kicking in Atlanta indoors that'd be a lock for having a great year, right? And I don't think Penix is going to score a ton of touchdowns. But yeah, so John Parker Romo, that's all we got there. Other big news out of this schedule here. Trying to think. We're questionable. Let me see if Jaden Daniels is going to be playing this week. I did not see the latest injury report. So let me do a quick check. Feels good. Status is up to the doctors. I don't know if that's good or bad. It's not up to me. It's up to the doctors. And McLaurin didn't. Turns out they thought he might need surgery. Looks like he avoided that. So that's good news for him. Whenever a player says, I feel good, but it's up to the doctors, that usually means you're not going to play, unfortunately. So if you got Jaden Daniels, I'd be looking for a replacement. Carolina, Ted McMillan looks like he's going to play this week, so fire him up. What else we got? We already talked about Mike Evans being out. Houston got some good news. Nico Collins is going to be active this week. He practiced in full today. I know some people were thinking that this might be the Christian Kirk show this week, but no fear, Nico's back. So that means they're going to be pretty set to go against these Titans. I fully expect that this is going to be the get right game for them. Houston Texans are going to take care of business in a big way. I think Stroud is got a chip on his shoulder. He's had some bad showings so far this year. I don't think he's thrown for more than one touchdown pass in a game yet. I'm going to guess this is the week. And I'd say 3 scores from him. 3 scores from Stroud. We're going to see some points put up on Tennessee. On any other big injury news? San Francisco. It may not be news, but it's. I think it's pretty much expected. Juwan Jennings probably isn't going to play this week. He still hasn't practiced. I don't think he's going towards playing. As far as the Rams go, the surprise actually for the Rams is we've got Devontae Adams has been banged up, and he hasn't practiced this week. So I kind of think he's going to play, but he's being held out of practice. So I mean, monitor that, I guess. But if he doesn't play, that could be big, right? Because that might change things a lot. But Devontae Adams and Puka Nacua, I mean, it's a pretty potent duo. And everybody else looks like it's pretty much status quo here. Chicago's at Vegas this weekend. I know Raider Nation probably wants to talk about this game. We don't have a ton of faith in the Raiders' offensive line. they haven't really shown that they can run block yet this season. I mean, outside of Genty falling into the end zone in Week 1 against the Patriots, I his his season's been pretty disappointing so far. And this is coming from a guy that's got a share of them in fantasy. So I'm rooting for him to produce. But I'm going to be honest, I don't see it happening anytime soon. And as far as Chicago goes, they looked quite dangerous last week. Caleb had a great game. They unlocked Luther Burden, got him involved. And they just got a dangerous group of wide receivers, and they're going to be a problem. They got 2 good tight ends as well, just like the Raiders. And, we're going to see the only thing really going for the Raiders is that they're at home and their defense has been playing really well. So we'll see if that is an offsetting factor for them. But I don't expect Jan to be able to do anything. For whatever reason, they refuse to play Jack Besh. I don't get it. They don't throw to their tight end. They don't play Jack Besh. They throw 500 times to Trey Tucker. That's what they do. And they don't block for Ashton Jennings. That's like the Raiders season in a nutshell right there. And you won't throw to Jacoby unless he's triple covered. So I don't know. The play design, I know Chip Kelly's supposed to be some sort of offensive genius, but I have seen nothing even remotely imaginative in his offense this year. It's looked pretty terrible. So, outside of a couple big plays here and there, like, you're kind of right where you're supposed to be, 1 and 2. The key to this game against Chicago is the Raider defense against the Chicago offense. So the Raiders won't score more than 20 points. So the key to beating the Chicago Bears is to hold them under 20 points. Now that's going to be a tricky thing because they've got enough weapons to really spread you out and make it hard. And your linebackers have been your strength this year. But you might have to shift into dime and nickel coverages, which, might take one of those linebackers off the field. I don't know. It just feels kind of a mismatch talent-wise. Like their strength doesn't really line up with your strength. So I kind of think it's going to be the Bears' day in Vegas. Obviously, Vegas thinks this is going to be a close game, but they're favoring Chicago by 1.5. They're saying over 47.5 is the line there in that game. So, that's possible. That's possible, but one of these teams is going to be under 20 points. So that means you're thinking the other team's going to score 30. That feels kind of outrageous. I don't know that the score is going to get that out of hand. But maybe it does. Maybe Vegas lets go of the rope. and Chicago just really pours it on them. But I would be shocked. It's too early in the year for that. Pete Carroll's an outstanding coach. Um, they're going to fight, and they're going to fight hard for him. So I don't see a blowout happening, but you know, 2 scores maybe. Now, the Micah Parsons return fest to Dallas, that could be an ugly game. That could be an ugly game. They have some key injuries in Dallas. Green Bay is, outside of losing, one of their receivers, I don't necessarily know Green Bay has too many flaws. And to be honest, they were pretty loaded at wide receiver to begin with. So I don't really think that this is going to be a problem for them. They drafted pretty well this year, and all in all, I think they're pretty healthy. Yeah, I don't see much. So yeah, I mean, they've got Tyler Booker, CeeDee Lamb are not playing this week for the Cowboys. Zach Tom and Aaron Banks, Anthony Belton did not practices on Thursday. And Wednesday. And Anthony Belton actually downgraded from limited participant to DNP. So that's not great. But they look like they're pretty much otherwise going to be fine. Josh Jacobs was limited, but I think he's probably going to play. Yeah, it's going to be bad. It's going to be bad. Prepare yourself for that. Cowboy Nation, prepare yourself. And then, let's take a look at Monday night. We got New York and Miami. New York Football Jets. Miami Dolphins. AFC East battle of the basement. 2 worst teams in the AFC East going up against each other. Only one can win. I mean, I wish they could both lose, but that's not possible. So we'll have to live with one of them getting the L. Oh, they could tie. I forgot about that. We could tie. That would be kind of funny, actually. But if I'm picking a winner in this game, I'm going with Miami. I feel like, they're due at this point, and they can't really afford to lose much more. If we're, we'll get into the coaches that are on the hot seat, but McDaniels is definitely one of them, and his seat is really hot right now. I saw some odds that had him as like the first coach to get fired this year. I think that might be a little bit of a reach, but given who the other teams are that are sitting in the basement with him, he's really the only one that is got any sort of tenure. So I don't see any of these terrible teams. Maybe Tennessee. I mean, if Tennessee continues to lose, I could definitely see, Tennessee will definitely be the way it's looking right now. Tennessee's coach and GM, the whole front office, everybody from the front office all the way down to the water boy, everybody's going to get fired there because that team's looked bad since they got rid of Vrabel. I mean, I don't know if anybody remembers this, but Vrabel pretty much had that team in the playoffs every year. Shoot, I mean, Vrabel ended Brady's career in New England with an L in the playoffs. Like, that was my last memory of Tom Brady in a Patriot uniform was Logan Ryan running into the end zone on an interception. So it's like um, amazing how far they have fallen in so little time. It's kind of amazing and sad at the same time. So, quick update: Seahawks and Cardinals 17-6 into the fourth quarter now. It's a barn burner. Oh, there's a drop pass. Good job. Kenneth Walker got a fastball from Darnold, missed it. 2nd and 10. Looks like, the Seahawks have pretty good control in this game, but it's only 17-6, so the Cardinals could get back into this game real fast if they manage to put a drive together. Doesn't look like they're anywhere close to that, but we'll see. I'll keep an eye on it for you, and I'll let you know if I see anything. In the final game of the Monday night slate doubleheader, Cincinnati at Denver. Now, this ought to be really bad. Obviously, the Cincinnati Bengals are without their all-pro quarterback, Joe Burrow, probably for the foreseeable future. Late into the year, if they're lucky, he comes back at the end of the year, and they're somewhere near playoff contention. If they're lucky, more likely they'll be dead and buried, and they won't bother trying to rush him back. So I have him in a guillotine league. Burrow, he was my starting quarterback. Luckily, I had the foresight to draft Drake May as well. So keys to the kingdom were handed over to him. And Burrow is sitting on my bench comfortably. And I haven't decided on whether I'm going to keep him or not. Because honestly, I don't know how bad the Bengals season is going to get. If they start I don't know. If they start reeling off a whole bunch of losses and it gets to the point where they're, going to have zero chance, zero margin for error to get back in the playoff hunt, then I'm probably just going to cut bait on Burrow because that'll probably foreshadow him not coming back this year. Because let's be honest, if you're like a 10% chance of making the playoffs, so you're going to really try and press Burrow into action. I don't know. I that would feel kind of foolish to me. Like, that was a good move. I didn't even know Zach Charbonnet could do that. Oh, poor guy. Flag. Holding. JSN. That is unfortunate. Charbonnet made a nice move. Didn't even need that. Charbonnet was going to score regardless. Oh, well. Maybe that means they'll put Kenneth Walker back in the game. So anyway, as far as the Bengals and Broncos go, I don't expect this to be much of a game. I think Denver's defense is more than capable. In their offense, it hasn't looked like real good. They look like they've got more than enough firepower to take care of the Bengals defense because that looks terrible. So we'll see. We'll see what the final outcome of that game is, but Denver's a 7.5-point favorite at home. I think they easily cover that. Easily. Browning's not a terrible quarterback, but it's the defense, especially the secondary of the Broncos, is dangerous. And I don't think the as good as the wide receivers are in Cincinnati, I don't think Browning's a good enough quarterback to expose them. That's a wrap on NFL news. Back on this game, Kenneth Walker is up to 74 yards now. Looks like he's back in the game. And he's just cranking it out. I'd like to see Kenneth Walker get himself a little touchdown run right now. Penalties. Again. Frustrating game. I did this exercise last night on my show, running through the schedule, picking winners and losers. I can share that with you guys as well. Go through it and see what we got. Also, remember, guys, chat lives matter. Please, do you have any questions? Feel free to throw them in the chat and I'll address them. Chewy's Raider coverage, welcome. Thanks for watching. Please remember, like and subscribe. Yeah, none of the stuff is streaming through though, so please keep the chat stuff coming. I'm keeping an eye on Turf's channel, Ultimate Raider Fan. So if you got any questions, throw them in there, and I'll address them. Thanks, guys. Appreciate you. Thanks for watching. Back to the schedule. We'll get a little gambling going here. Looking at these picks, we'll run through them beginning tonight. Obviously, I think the Seahawks are probably going to win this game, and they'll probably cover. 20-6 now. They just kicked a field goal. Let's see what we got here. We'll start. This game was a 1.5-point spread for Seattle. Obviously, they're winning. Over of 43.5. Based on the score right now, we got a total of 26. I don't think they're gonna get there. So that'd probably be under. Minnesota at Pittsburgh. Minnesota 2.5. This is obviously neutral site in Dublin, Ireland, 8:30 a.m. So they're both traveling abroad. With Minnesota's favored by 2.5 in this game, and I'm gonna go with Minnesota to cover this one. I think Minnesota wins by a field goal. and covers the 2.5-point spread. Washington at Atlanta. Washington's favored by 1.5. Jaden Daniels, to me, looks like he's probably not going to play. What does that mean? I think it means Atlanta's going to win this game. No Jaden Daniels, no win. Marcus Mariota, yeah, I don't see you pulling it off twice. So Atlanta's going to get this game. It's a get-right game for them. They're probably going to lean into Bijan a lot this game, get him cooking, and then play off that with play action. Washington is favored by 1.5, miraculously. Atlanta's going to win this one straight up. New Orleans and Buffalo at Buffalo. Buffalo by 15.5. Buffalo wins. Buffalo covers. New Orleans is going to get stomped. Cleveland at Detroit. Detroit favored by 9.5. Now, I think Detroit's going to win this game. They are definitely not going to cover a 9.5-point spread. It's going to be tight. This is going to be a much closer game than that. These are two really good defenses. I don't think Detroit's going to go in there firebomb Cleveland. It's not going to happen. So we're taking Cleveland with the spread, getting 9.5 points. I'll take that all day. Carolina at New England. New England's favored by 5.5. I'm just going to be honest. Like, New England's offense, I don't think has scored enough points for me to feel like they could cover a 5.5-point spread on the year. So based on that alone, I'm going to take Carolina. Getting 5.5 points, Carolina. My suspicion is that if New England wins, it's probably going to be by a field goal or less. Next up, we got the Chargers at the Giants. This is the Jackson Dart game. Welcome to the NFL, son. Oh, wow. Kyler Murray just turned on the Jets. Became the leading rusher on his team. Look at that. Let's see where that is. He's starting at the 25. Gets up past midfield. That was like a 35-yard run. Good job. And then he runs for a couple and slides. All right. Where we leave off? Oh, yeah, the Chargers. That Chargers defense is dangerous. And we missed this one, actually. Najee Harris is done for the year. So now we're going to be living the Omari and Hampton experience for the rest of the season. I know a lot of people that thought that he was the top dog coming out are excited for this. They want to see what he can do. I'm one of those people. I thought he was going to be him and Judkins and Henderson were going to be the guys that set the tone for this draft class. So I'm excited to see what this is going to look like. The New York Giants are pretty good at run defense. It's kind of one of the only things they can do. But I think the Chargers just have too much. Chargers are going to win this game. Chargers are favored by 6.5. This is going to be the Chargers game. They are going to light them up. Omari and Hampton, get cooking. Omari's going to get going. Might be tough sledding, so the yards per carry might not look so pretty this first week, but I'm going to guess he scores a touchdown and probably gets somewhere between 15 and 20 carries, be my guess. So we'll see. what that looks like as far as total yardage, but I think they're going to lean on him quite a bit. You know, that's what Harbaugh likes to do. He likes to really beat you. Moving on, we got Philly at Tampa. Philly is favored by 3.5 points over Tampa. Now, I think it's always a dangerous proposition to bet against Baker Mayfield. He's proven time and time again, like he just won't go away. So, do I think Philly covers 3.5 points? Probably not. Not on the road, not in Tampa Bay. This is going to be a much closer game than that. I think if Tampa Bay might just win this game outright. They're at home, So, but if Philly wins, I think it's going to be something close. It's not going to be 3.5 points. We talk about kicking a field goal to take the lead and win the game or something, or as time expires, who knows? But if I'm taking the line, I'm going to take Tampa Bay at home. Not betting against Baker Mayfield. Oh, that was a pretty throw. Marvin Harrison pulls in the touchdown catch. High points the ball in the end zone. Good for him. He's been having some drop issues lately, so glad that he was able to get a contested catch and get up there and high point the ball and hold on to it. Beautiful touchdown. Beautiful throw. Beautiful catch. There you go. So now we got 20-13. So they're within a score. 20-13. All right, getting back to these games. Philly, Tampa, Tennessee, and Houston. Houston's favored by 7.5. We'll just leave it at this. Houston's going to win. They're going to cover. Take them. Bet it. Lock it. Indianapolis at the Rams. Rams are favored by 3.5. Rams might win the game. It's going to be closer than that. I'm going to take the Colts. Jacksonville, San Francisco. San Fran by 3.5 points. San Fran's going to cover that, I think. 3.5 points, I don't think it's a big deal. They should be able to take care of that. Baltimore, Kansas City. Kansas City at home. I feel like this is a ruse. Baltimore favored in Kansas City. It doesn't even feel right or sound right coming out of my mouth. So obviously, taking Kansas City. You're gonna make the mistake of giving the points to the visiting team. I'll take them. Kansas City at home for the win. Chicago at Vegas. Chicago by 1.5. Now this feels a little bit, dirty. I don't understand why Chicago would be a road favorite. But, whatever. The Caleb Williams hype is still alive and well. I do think they win the game, though, and they should cover 1.5. So I'll go with the Bears. Sunday Night Football, Green Bay at Dallas. Green Bay by 6.5. Now, these were odds as of yesterday, so these might have fluctuated a little bit. So I can't promise you're going to get these same numbers, but Green Bay favored by 6.5. I take Green Bay. They should cover a touchdown. No problem. New York at Miami. Now these are the Jets, not the Giants. Miami's favored by 2.5. I'll take Miami to cover. Next up, we got Cincinnati at Denver to wrap the week. Denver's favored by 7.5. Denver's going to win by 7.5. Easily. Denver to cover. No problem. And that, ladies and gentlemen, is it for week 4. If I'm going to put any sort of eliminator pick in here, by the way, what is my pick of the week? I would say Denver is a pretty good one. I would say Green Bay is a pretty good one. I would say, if Houston wasn't playing as terribly as they are, I might go with them. But outside of that, I mean, a lot of people might have already used this, but Buffalo and New Orleans, New Orleans at Buffalo. Buffalo is probably the biggest winner this week. So that's that. We got a pretty good game coming on now. Seattle takes over with 5 minutes, 20 seconds left. 3rd and 6 with a 7-point lead. They're trying to get a first down and start running this clock down. This is a big play. Let's see if Darnold can get it. Oh, he's up top. Oh, strike. JSN. Beautiful ball downfield. Dropped it in the bucket. JSN for 25, 30 yards. Let's see, starts at the 30. Man, 36 yards. Wow. Great throw. These Ohio State receivers, man, they are just unbelievable. JSN, Harrison, Igbuka, McLaurin. Guys, place just puts out wide receivers like crazy. Calais Campbell is limping off the field with a dead arm. Shoulder. Keep an eye on that. Calais is into the injury tent. Darnold with a fresh set of downs, under 4 minutes now. Now, JSN ran out of bounds, so the clock stopped. Oh, that's a run for no gain. JSN coming to life in the second half. 3 catches for 57 yards. Man. It's a hard yard. Kenneth Walker for 1 yard. 3rd and 9. Another long. The play calling is just so crazy. So they know what you're going to do. They know you're going to run So what do? You run right into the middle of the line. It's it doesn't even make sense. Don't try to get wide. Don't even try and do anything crazy. Just line up, run right into where they stack the line, and fall down. That's the play call. We're just gonna line up and run straight into the mess and fall down. Run again on third down. What- I don't know. It's kind of crazy. Like, and they didn't bother running the clock down on the prior when they ran before into the line. They just got back up to the line of scrimmage and ran another play. So they didn't even take. I mean, this clock should be down around 3 minutes at this point. It's at 3:25. I don't know. Oh my god! And he missed the field goal. Oh my god. Myers missed wide right from, I don't know, 40 yards, 30 yards, 30 something yards. I don't know. Good job. That pretty much would ice the game for you. Your coach was relying on you because he did nothing even remotely close to trying to win the game. Just ran 3 times up the middle and then let you try, figured you just ice the game with a field goal and you missed. Now Arizona in a 2-minute offense, they're probably going to be cooking. They come right back to the line of scrimmage, I bet. Second down and 4. And they got out of bounds, so they stopped the clock at 3:09. So we're at 3:09, and they're on their second play of their drive because the Seahawks didn't run the clock down. Oh my God, what a throw. Did he get that? Let's see. He caught the ball. Definitely caught it. 1, 2. That's a catch, folks. Oh no. No, couldn't get another a second body part or foot down. Oh, incomplete on 3rd and 4. They got to go for this. This is the game right here. The ultimate cheat code's the defense. The defense can cover up for your mistakes. If they are able to get the ball back here, this should put the Cardinals in a really bad spot. 30-second timeout by the Cardinals. Want to make sure they're in the right set. Man, that was a nice move by Charbonnet. Here we go. Wilson makes the catch. First down. Wow. He didn't even see it. He just put his hand up, knocked the ball out of the air, and caught it. Wow. Here he goes, running. Oh, he didn't get out of bounds. That's not good. They better get up there. DeMarcado. He must not have felt it. Oh, Kyler Murray goes down. Sacked, third down. Third and 9. Right back in the mess. Right back in the mess. And we're in a timeout again. 2-minute warning. Just 2-minute warning, actually. How is this thing going to end? I just think the both these teams are 2-1 right now. So this is a big game. Honestly, Seattle's looked a little bit better, a little more complete on both sides of the ball. So I'd lean towards them to get this. But we shall see. Kyler Murray looks like he's moving with a purpose in the fourth quarter. I mean, if Seattle by some miracle gets this ball back and they have to run plays, I really hope they don't just run up the middle again. But without throwing the ball, maybe like off tackle or toss or something a little more imaginative than let's just run a dive into the middle of the line. We're in timeout right now. I'm not gonna lie. The Thursday night games this year have been pretty good. Felt like last year was kind of some hit or miss. The Thursday night crew is not too bad. They're entertaining. Oh man, what do we got here? Oh wow, another first down. Dortch and Wilson leading the way. Now they're on the 30. They're actually in striking distance. 135 left. He's cool as a cucumber. He just wants to go down there and tie the game up. They had a free rusher. Good read. Saw the pressure. Slid in the pocket and delivered the ball out. I will say Murray's been dealing with the pressure pretty well in the fourth quarter. Looks like that's the game plan. Uh-oh. Oh. I'd say that's uncatchable. Probably going to get the call for that. But there was definite contact. I think if that's a catchable ball, that's probably PI right there. He threw it so high over his head, though. It's he had no chance at it. Get 3rd and 5. They are coming. Timeout again. Oh, there's old friend Jacoby Brissett. It's with the Cardinals. Here we go. 3rd and 5. Oh my God, they're coming. Nope, they dropped out. Oh, Harrison. Catch. First and goal. That was a great catch by Harrison. Now you're in the danger zone. McBride, Harrison, Wilson, all in the fold. They don't even have to do anything. They got 38 seconds left. They can run. They can. You got to get back up on that real quick. My God, they tried to get a run in there with Benson. DeMarcado. Wow, that was a great catch. Great catch. He has 5 catches for 58 yards and a touchdown in the second half. Harrison coming through. Here we go. 33 seconds for the game. 2nd and goal. Uh-oh. That's a problem. Touchdown. Amari DeMarcado. They had 4 wide receivers on the field. Running back leaked out of the backfield underneath. Went and got it done. $1 million question. Arizona going to go for the tie or the win? Going for the tie. Here we go. Former Patriot Chad Ryland kicks the extra point. Game is tied at 20 with 30 seconds left. That's unreal. I didn't see that coming. Seattle just let go of the rope. We might be looking at overtime. I'm not really sure what that was. So ensuing kickoff, Chad Ryland just kicked a little short of the landing zone. Missed the landing zone, so now they get the ball at the 40. Instead of just drilling that thing, giving it to him at the 35, he tried to drop it in the landing zone, missed the landing zone, and now they get it at the 40. So they like two passes, one pass, and they're in field goal range. Here we go. Get rid of it. 2nd and 10. Unreal. Oh, that's it right there. That is it. Just cooked. It's the money ball right there. I don't understand that. Like, if you are playing the Seattle Seahawks and you know JSN is their best wide receiver, why wouldn't you put 2 on him? That seems kind of crazy. So they're reviewing the catch to make sure he had control. It looked good to me in real time, but let me see. Did it bobble or move? Oh, they're trying to see if he got out of bounds, and he did. So he gets the time back on the clock. So they get back to 18 seconds. So he can make it even closer. That's like 2 plays right there before you have to kick. Now, I'm not going to say this, but if Seattle had done their job when they had the ball before and had run the clock down properly, Arizona doesn't have enough time to score that touchdown to tie the game. Time would have run out on them, or they would have been forced to throw something long before they were ready for it. And who knows how that would have ended. So, again, clock management matters. Game management matters. Instead of trying to get in position to kick a field goal, trying to put this game in the hands of the kicker that just missed the field goal you gave before. You could have had control of your destiny and shut this thing down. Charbonnet. I don't know if I agree with that. This guy, I don't know. I don't like him. McDonald, not a fan. Instead of trying to pick up some more yards throwing the ball, he just decides to run the ball into the line of scrimmage again. Charbonnet kind of bounced off a couple tackles and got a couple yards and went down. They ran the clock down to 4 seconds. He's going to try and give it to his kicker again to redeem himself. We'll see if he can get this one. He's a lot closer this time. Dead on. He's got that one. Seahawks win 23-20. 23-20. And let's bring this back up again. It's actually mind-boggling to me how close Vegas gets on some of these lines. So the over-under is 43.5. So my suspicion was under. Barely correct. Half a point. Seattle by 1.5 points. Barely right. They covered by a field goal. That's nuts. That's nuts. Well, there you go, folks. Seattle wins. Arizona loses. Arizona falls to 2-2. Seattle improves to 3-1. That is a wrap. Thanks for watching another episode of Dead in the Water. Until next week, hook 'em.